The Perfect Psychologist. As I read through the epistle that was read this morning, I came across, the thought that many people have discussed the theological meaning and understanding of what it means to be baptized and to be baptized into Christ. While looking over this, it can be taken in many different directions. Talked about several different subjects within here, but I find one phrase that is particularly sums it all up. The point of what it is to be baptized. About halfway down in the epistle, it reads, "For if we have been planted together in the likeness of his death, we shall be also in the likeness of his resurrection, knowing this, that our old man is crucified with him, that the body of sin might be destroyed, and that henceforth we should not serve sin." To be brought into the body of Christ means that we do not serve sin, but we serve God. In the epistle for this morning, it speaks of God's love, his perfect love, asking God to give us that love, that we may perfectly not only love him, but to love others. God's love is perfect. Love does not cause pain. This, of course, comes to the understanding that God himself does not create the trials or tribulations that are set before us, but rather it comes from Satan. With this view and understanding in our life, we can take on the trials with a different view. Will God benefit or will Satan benefit from these trials? With the view that Satan is set before us, we can turn to God, the perfect psychologist. This not only becomes a trial, but a joy. It should bring a smile to our face, because if we turn to God, we are serving God. And he can show us in that trial, in the tribulation that we are dealing with, how to become closer with him. If not, if this trial that we deal with, where we toil and become overtrodden and burdened with it, try to deal with it with ourselves, we are moving closer to Satan and not God. We are serving sin. Sin, of course, turns us away from God and faces the evil one. By turning Godward in the midst of this tribulation, we acknowledge our errors. We acknowledge our sin. We acknowledge the areas of our life that are easy to temptation, and allow him to work in us. We grow closer, a stronger relationship, and become a better person overall. He promises that he will not allow anything to be too much, too extensive, too overwhelming. He wants us to be closer to him. He knows our weaknesses, and he knows the prince of darkness. What it boils down to is, how do we deal, or where do we turn in the midst of all of our trials? All too often, We get close to the Creator and we become comfortable Christians. With the many things and the ways of our life, we instinctively reach to take control again after that. Thinking, God, I can see where we're going from here. I see the goal. I see the target. Let me take the reins. I can take it from here. I can see where we're going. And all too often, we end up right back in the toils and snares of Satan, the temptations. Once again, I can only imagine what God's little cartoon bubble could read at that point. Oh, ye of little faith. Or, why do you worry so much? Tomorrow has its own worries. Let me lead the way. It is ingrained in us from childhood to be in control. It is a part of the society for us to always want that power. The power in the palm of your hand. Control yourself. Behave right. A life of serving God consists of many things and can be spoken about in many different ways. But we must embrace His omnipotent hand as the perfect psychologist to perfectly mold us in the areas that are the weakest within us. And as they become stronger, of course, there will be other areas that will need to be molded. Finding Him and giving Him control is the fight of the flesh and of Satan and of Him. In looking at today's readings and deciding on where I wanted to go with this, about halfway through in preparing this for today, a song came to mind. I want to share the lyrics with you. This song comes from my days of the Protestant realm of Baptist, and it is very fitting. The title of the song, of course, is Refiner's Fire. However, I want you to look at this different than what it may initially intend to the meaning. The fire, when you hear Refiner's Fire, when you hear those words, rather, you think as if God is creating that fire. God is the one creating it. He is the one who takes what is there and molds it. The fire itself is the battle. So, I pray these words are a little bit of a prayer for you. I know everyone, as I look around, has been dealing with toils, dealing with snares, even myself. This week has been full of them. And it seems every time I turn to this pulpit, Satan is 10 times more at my back. And I'm glad that I am standing here. I did not turn away from it. And these words were as much as a prayer for me this week as I hope they are for you. Begins, purify my heart. Let me be as gold and as precious silver. Purify me. Let me be as gold. The refiner's fire. My heart's one desire is to be holy, set apart for you, Lord. I choose to be holy, set apart for you, my master, ready to do your will. Purify me, cleanse me from within, and make me holy. Purify my heart. Cleanse me from my sin, which is deep within. Amen.